Alright, so we are back for another video, guys, and today we're gonna check out a really exciting IEM. So this is one of the most requested IEMs here in this channel. Actually, because of that, I took a lot of time on this, maybe too much time. And as you see from the title of this video, this is my favorite $80 IEM, and we're gonna find out why in this video. So looking at the build quality of this, this is a perfect IEM for me. So it fits nicely on the ear for me. It does have some fins here, so it's a bit more stable, but it's not your big fins. This is a bit smaller. And on the ear for me, they were able to find a nice balance between stability and comfort. Also, the build quality as well feels good in the hand. We have that resin plastic, but this is the nicer quality of resin plastics here. Actually, the upgrade in terms of the design is better for me compared to your usual tank built tin audios. Because for me, in the comfort, for example, with the TinHifi, so nice sounding IEMs, but they're not the most comfortable pair. And also the fit for me is not that good on the ear. So for me, this is the most comfortable tin audio that I have worn in under $80 here. In terms of the cable, this does remind me a lot of the TC01 from TinHifi. So not the thickest cable. So I would say in terms of the build quality, this is a welcome improvement over the previous tank style tin audios. So I do like the fit overall. It's more comfortable to wear. So yeah, the update in design is definitely welcome for me. Alright, next let's go to the sound, and we are now listening to the TinHifi here, and we're listening to some I Shot the Sheriff by Eric Clapton. So going to the overall sound here, this reminds me a lot of maybe the Moondrop Arias, but this is a bit more clean in the presentation. And also in terms of the signature as well, this is a slight U type of shape with a bit of treble extension on top. Also over your Moondrop Arias, this is a bit more monitor in the overall presentation. Maybe a bit more aggressive in the presentation as well, but not that far off from your Moondrop Arias. So I still like my Moondrop Arias, but this has a bit better technicalities for me. So that's why this is my preference over the Moondrop Arias here. Going to the bass response, I like the overall weight of the bass here. So maybe it reminds me a lot of the TinHifis. So it's right where I want it to be for the bass here. So not overly done, not overly aggressive. Also not lacking as well in this regard. So much like the TinHifis here. So for me, this is a bit tighter compared to what you're getting with the Moondrop Arias. The Arias will still have a bit more warmth in the bottom. No mid-bass bleed as well. So really controlled bass here. And because it doesn't have some mid-bass bleed as well, so separation is still quite good with this IEM. So much like the TinHifis here. But yes, compared to the TinHifis, this is a bit smoother in the presentation, but not that far off in the overall presentation here. So I would say yes, nice bass here overall. Going to the mids, the mids is in the cleaner side of presentation. So this won't be as lush or smooth compared to what you're getting with the Moondrop Arias. So those will still have a bit more full mids overall. This is more in the cleaner side, but this is actually a bit smoother compared to what you're getting with the TinHifis. The TinHifis will still have cleaner presentation overall. So this is gonna have a bit more body in the vocal region, which is definitely something that I prefer. The positioning of the vocals here is of course a bit recessed in the mix, but not that far off. So it's just very slight type of presentation here. But what I like about the presentation here is there's no shoutiness inside, there's no aggressiveness inside. So this is one of the most toned down vocals that you can listen to in that price range. And in terms of the body in the vocals, while it's in the cleaner side of presentation, so the body is not lacking for me. So it doesn't sound thin for me of a listen that it can sound maybe anemic to listen to. So this is still ample, body in the mix for me. In terms of the vocal presentation, it's quite natural of a presentation as well. So it's not overly aggressive of a listen. Still pushes through the mix nicely. This is not your maybe veiled vocals. So yes, vocals, really love the vocals here. And what I like about the vocals here is these kinds of vocals can be versatile in the mix because you can still use this for some maybe live monitoring, maybe some podcast monitoring, because the vocals is quite clear in the mix here. So yes, for me, the mids, really like the mids here overall. I would say though, in terms of the mids, again, the Moondrop Arias will have smoother presentation overall, more lush on body and the vocals. So for people who still like that kind of presentation, you might prefer the Arias over the TinHifi Plus. So going to the top end here, so yes, you are getting a bit of maybe treble elevation at the top, especially in the 12K region. But in your 4 to 5K, you're getting a pretty rounded top end there. So yeah, the body and the cymbals for me, really good in the mix. I would say the body and the cymbals is better compared to what you're getting with the TinHifi, because you're getting a dynamic driver presentation here in the TinHifi Plus. And the body and the cymbals really good for me. And because of that 12K extension as well at the top, it's really lively in the mix. That's a bit more musicality in the overall sound. So there's a bit more shinier on top. So that's why it has maybe that monitor quality to the overall sound. Like here in Up Dharma Down, Luna. So in the cymbals, there's a bit more shine on top, a bit more energy on top here. So it has a bit more liveliness in the overall presentation. So this is still something that you can use for some mixing work, but this is not maybe a boring type of mixing pair for me. This has a bit more musicality in the overall sound. Going to Jumping In by Josa Triani. So the guitars really shines in the mix. This is not your boxed off guitars at all. So for some guitar monitoring, you will still like this because of that nice extension on top here. And also because of that cleaner presentation as well. So the guitars pushes through the mix nicely, quite tight in the overall presentation. So for some monitoring, this will be nice as well. Mixing work, this will be nice as well. Going to soundstage, quite big in the mix here. And also going to separation, really good in the mix. So because of that, maybe tighter presentation, cleaner presentation, really good in the mix here. You can hear the instruments here clearly. In terms of the micro detail, this actually has ample micro detail in the mix. This won't beat out your 10 driver counterparts, but I like the overall tightness and having some micro detail in the overall presentation. So still nice for me here overall. Alright, so going to some IEM comparisons. So let's go and compare it to the Moondrop Aria. So the Aria is in the warmer side of things, a bit smoother in the overall presentation. Actually, vocal positioning with the Moondrop Arias is gonna be better. Also better body on top still because of that smoother presentation. But I would say maybe less technicalities overall, a bit less micro detail as well. Also less nuance in articulation in the sound here overall. Going to the TinHifi Plus, it's a bit more musical in the overall presentation, maybe a touch more aggressive in the presentation. Maybe a bit more lively in the presentation, has a bit more clarity and sparkle on top, and a bit cleaner in the presentation as well. So on the ear, the TinHifi is a bit more musical, monitor type of presentation over your Moondrop Arias, where it's maybe a bit more relaxed to the ear, and also maybe a bit warmer to the ear as well. So on the ear, actually, yes, I do like this both. They're definitely both top 5 contenders. But if I just need to choose one here, I will choose the TinHifi Plus because of that maybe better technicalities, a bit more energy in the top end for me, a bit more monitor type of sound. And you guys know I love maybe that monitor vibes to the overall sound here. So going to the TC01. So the TC01 is going to be more fun of a listen, more bassy and more impactful bass as well. More lively of a listen in the TC01. Bigger stage as well. The TC01 also has more aggressiveness in the overall sound. It's also a bit more musical to listen to. So your TC01 is going to be definitely more fun to the ear. The TinHifi has some more level tuning, a more balance. Tuning to the mix. A bit more toned down bass as well. Not overwhelming bass in the mix. Also a touch smoother sound as well overall. And also better micro detail articulation in the TinHifi Plus. So for this comparison, yes, I do still like the TinHifi Plus more. I like that it has still that maybe musicality of the TC01, but now more mature type of tuning, more controlled bass, better vocal positioning. Also more controlled top end. So I do like the TinHifi Plus over the TC01. So compared to the TinHifi, so the TinHifi was in our earphone awards as well. So I do still like the TinHifi. The TinHifi has a tighter sound overall, faster in the overall sound, cleaner as well. And bass is a bit more toned down in the mix as well. And separation for me is better as well in the TinHifi. The T3 Plus has very similar bass response, but maybe a touch more prominent in the T3 Plus here. The slam is a bit more pronounced in the mix. Also, a bit smoother vocal presentation over the TinHifi, and maybe a touch more controlled vocal region as well. Bigger stage as well, and also more natural tonality over what you are getting with the TinHifi. So in this comparison, so the TinHifi again is one of my earphone awardees before. I do like them both still, but I still prefer the TinHifi Plus in this regard. It's gonna be more versatile of a listen overall, a bit smoother vocal presentation. It will fit more genres more in this regard. All right, so let's try to close this thing. So for the TinHifi Plus, so I really like this IEM. So this is again an IEM that's kind of made for me. So I do like the overall build quality. You have some fins. You have that nice fitting on the ear. Also that sound quality as well, fairly balanced with ample extension on top, ample bass as well, but not overly done. Good vocal presentation, enough body in the vocals while not being too shouty, and also enough musicality extension on top, and a bit more better technicalities over what you are getting with the Moondrop Arias. So yes, this is a really promising IEM here. Definitely my favorite in the $80 range, and I will highly recommend it in that price range for sure. So yes, I do still like my other IEMs here, but if you just need to choose one in the $80 range, this might be my pick over the other IEMs that I have mentioned. And yes, good job here by Tin Audio. All right, so that's my check by the Tin Audio T3 TC03 Plus. Of course, if you learn something, leave a like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. I actually like that, Tin Audio is kind of updating, their IEMs for 2021, and that they're kind of evolving, the IEMs that they're releasing every single month here. So that's really exciting. Actually, for me, even if the tank style Tin Audios is kind of nostalgic for me, because they have been releasing this kind of IEM for some time, I actually will prefer this kind of build quality in the future from now on, because those of the fit on the air, these are really nice. So yeah, that's my take with the Tin T3 Plus. Of course, if you learned something, leave a like and subscribe for content like this in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next zpolt review. Goodbye.